first game will feature on my left from Fremont, California, Hopkins. And on my right from New York, New York, Hunter. The winner of this game will then face Churchill A from Carmichael, California for the championship. Good luck to everyone remaining, and I am going to turn the mic over to Jonah Greenthal, NAQT member, who will be reading the finals.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Congratulations on making it to the finals. Let's begin with a buzzer check, please, starting with Hunter. Great. Who's the captain over here? Great. Captain over here? Great. Ready? Ready? 9 minutes on the clock, and here's toss-up 1. This taxonomic order includes the Christmas Island pipistrelle, a species declared extinct in 2017. The largest urban colony of animals in this order is formed by the Brazilian free-tailed species in Austin, Texas. So-called flying foxes. That's 10. Oh, yeah. This work opens by describing how the sweet showers of April have pierced March to the root. For 10 points each, name this collection of stories told by such pilgrims as the Nun's Priest, the Knight, and the Wife of Bath.
The Canterbury Tales.
Yes, Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales opens with this section, which introduces the overall conceit of the work. Answer?
I know that's the prologue.
Prompt.
The
Time.
Knight's
It's called the
prologue.
general prologue.
Oh, okay.
The pilgrims in the Canterbury Tales are headed to the shrine of this man, whose death is depicted in
Thomas
T.S. Eliot's play
Yeah,
Murder in the
Thomas
Cathedral.
Beckett.
Yes, that's 20 on the bonus. Toss-up 2. After the release of Donald Trump's Access Hollywood tape, this man said he wished he were still in high school so he could take Trump behind the gym.
Clear.
Sorry.
Biden.
Yes, for 15.
Oh, yeah.
Members of Thailand's Isan people are closely related to this country's namesake ethnic group, but tend to downplay the relationship. For 10 points each, name this landlocked socialist country in Southeast Asia, sandwiched between Thailand and Vietnam.
Yeah. Laos.
Yes, like Chinese, the Lao language is this kind of language in which meaning is distinguished by the pitch of words that are otherwise pronounced the same.
Yeah. Tonal.
Sorry?
Tonal.
Yes, many elements of Lao culture, such as their national dish of larb, are shared by this highland ethnic group that fled en masse to the west after the communist takeover of Laos.
Yeah, I think so. Differ.
Hmong?
Yes, the Hmong people, that's all 30. Toss-up 3. This state contains lakeside sand dunes in Porter County. In 1825, Robert Owen purchased a town in this state to found the utopian colony of New Harmony.
Indiana?
15.
Nice.
For 10 points each, answer the following about crop plants in the amaranth family. Cooking this leafy vegetable helps reduce the amount of oxalate it contains, thus freeing up more iron to be absorbed by the body.
Yeah. Let's try that. Kale.
I'm sorry?
Kale.
No, spinach. This leafy vegetable, closely related to the beet, often has rhubarb-like red stalks. Despite its common name, it is not native to Switzerland.
Wait.
Answer?
Swiss beet.
Chard. This pseudo-cereal in the amaranth family was first domesticated and grown in the Andes, where farms have struggled to meet the rising global demand for it in recent years.
Yeah. Quinoa.
Yes, that's 10. Toss-up 4. This is the last name of the sculptor and color field painter Ellsworth. During an 1880 shootout with police at Glen Rowan, bulletproof armor was worn by a bushranger.
Kelly.
15. What? Pencil and paper ready. X and Y are both positive integers, and 7x minus 7y equals 21. For 10 points each, what is the difference between y? Answer? 14. If x squared plus 2xy equals 21, what is the sum of x plus y? You have 10 seconds and should note that there is only one correct answer. Answer?
Square root of 21.
11. Given that x minus y equals 3 and x plus y equals 11, what is the value of x? Answer? Time, it's 7. That is nothing on the bonus. Toss up 5. The motivations behind this country's War of Independence were explained in the Manifesto de Montecristo, which was written by the poet José Martí.
Cuba.
Yes, for 15. A set of granite peaks called the Needles are part of this mountain range for 10 points each. Name these hills in South Dakota. They contain Jewel Cave National Monument and are the site of the annual circus motorcycle rally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Black Hills.
Yes, the Lakota Sioux used the name Six Grandfathers for this mountain in the Black Hills, which Gutzon Borglum used for a sculpture of 4 presidents.
Not Rushmore.
Yeah, Rushmore.
Yes, this historic city, noted for its lawlessness during the Black Hills Gold Rush, is where Wild Bill Hickok was shot and killed during a poker game in 1876.
Yeah, maybe Bismarck. Bismarck.
No, this is Deadwood, that's 20.
Okay.
Toss up 6. The globular cluster NGC 6624 in this constellation contains an intermediate mass black hole orbited by a millisecond pulsar. The Trifid Nebula is in this constellation. Many of its brightest stars, including Caus Australis, form the Teapot asterism. It contains a radio source with a supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way, dubbed A star.
Sagittarius.
That's 10.
Nice job.
Cathal Brua and Eamon de Valera led this country in its war for independence. For 10 points each, name this country that fell into civil war in 1922, 1 year after it won its freedom from Great Britain.
Freedom from India. Scotland.
Scotland.
Answer?
Scotland.
Ireland.
Ireland.
Britain had previously quashed the Irish nationalists who led a so-called rising that coincided with this Christian holiday in spring 1916.
St. Bartholomew's
Easter.
Yes. This commander-in-chief of pro-treaty forces was assassinated in 1922 during the Civil War. This man led the IRA group that killed British spies on Bloody Sunday 1920.
Collins.
Yes, that's
Nice.
20. Toss up 7. One of these objects caused Capaneus to fall off a ladder and die.
Clear.
One of these objects caused Capaneus to fall off a ladder and die while infiltrating Thebes. One of these objects was used to kill Phaeton after he lost control of Helios's chariot.
A lightning bolt?
Yes, for 15. For 10 points each, answer the following about circulatory system anatomy. This pump that powers the circulatory system is split into 2 atria and 2 ventricles.
Wait, the heart? The heart.
Yes, inferior and superior examples of these vessels empty into the right atrium. They are the largest veins in the body.
Yeah, vena cava.
Okay, sure. Vena cava.
Yes, the endothelium of blood vessels is a simple layer of this cell shape. Unlike columnar and cuboidal cells, this type of epithelial cell is flat.
I don't know.
Answer?
Pancake cell.
Squamous, that's 20.
Okay.
Toss up 8. In 2013, this group's influence led to the suspension of polio vaccinations in Nuristan province. This group's interpretation of the Deobandi ideology is combined with the Pashtunwali tribal code.
Like, is this just the Taliban?
15.
Yeah, nice.
This man describes how sweet and satisfying it is to forgive one's wife, as his own wife changes out of a Neapolitan costume worn at a ball. For 10 points each, name this lawyer who was appointed as the head of a bank shortly before his wife leaves him. Answer?
Robert.
No, this is Torvald Helmer. Torvald refuses to sacrifice his own honor for the sake of his wife Nora in this 1879 play.
A doll's house. A doll's house.
Yes, this Norwegian playwright depicted the collapse of Torvald's marriage in A Doll's House.
Ibsen.
Yes, that's 20. Toss up 9. A song by this artist mentions "Rollin' with my brothers like it's Jonas Jonas." He placed a record 9 songs in the top 20 of the Billboard Hot 100 in May 2018.
Drake.
No, -5. Including a collaboration with Ty Dolla $ign that describes a Lil Mama who is bad like Michael, and a song featuring 21 Savage that asserts, "Man, I feel just like the title figure." For 10 points, name this rapper behind Better Now, Psycho, and Rockstar. Time. I called time.
Okay.
It's Post Malone. Toss up 10.
Okay, I wouldn't have known.
Examples of these substances used to study proteins include MES and tricine. The pH of solutions of these substances can be calculated using the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. One of these substances is most useful when that pH equals the substance's pKa. A natural example of these substances is the bicarbonate one in the...
Buffer.
Yes, for 10.
Push the buzzer earlier.
No, Henderson Hasselbalch.
2 characters on this show argue over the difference between an assistant regional manager and an assistant to the regional manager. For 10 points each, name the sitcom set at a paper company in Pennsylvania.
What in the world?
The Office and
The Office.
Yes,
Yes.
The Office starred this actor as office manager Michael Scott. This man voices Gru in the Despicable Me series.
Steve
Adam
Carell.
Sandler. Steve
Yes.
Carell.
Steve Carell.
Kelly Kapoor, another character on The Office, was played by this actress. She went on to star in a namesake sitcom that was originally on Fox before moving to Hulu.
Smith.
No, Mindy Kaling, that's 20. Toss up 11. One of this man's election slogans told people to vote like your whole world depended on it. This politician failed to defeat incumbent Pat Brown in California's gubernatorial...
Warren.
No, -5. This politician failed to defeat incumbent Pat Brown in California's gubernatorial election of 1962. Actor Paul Newman was one of the original 20 people on this man's enemies list. Dwight Eisenhower's vice president was, for 10 points, what man who was controversially pardoned by his successor as president, Gerald Ford?
Nixon.
Yeah, 10. For 10 points each, name these string instruments that are not typically featured in a symphony orchestra. Ravi Shankar was a master of this Indian string instrument, which he taught to George Harrison of the Beatles. Answer?
Mandolin.
Sitar. Spoon-shaped hammers are used to play this instrument, whose strings are strung horizontally across a typically trapezoidal soundboard.
Oh, is this a Celesta?
Yeah, sure. Defer.
Celesta?
No, it's a dulcimer. A hand-cranked wheel spins against this violin-shaped instrument's strings, which are manipulated using a small keyboard along the neck.
Hit the hurdy-gurdy.
Yes, for 10 on the bonus, and that's halftime.
You're muted. We've lost about 3 of them.
3 of 1. Whatever.
I know.
Whatever.
Before the finals, Churchill has not been in this room yet, so I need media releases.
How are they not?
I don't
Whatever. Okay.
The vagaries of the tournament format.
I ripped my pants on the edge of the stage just before this. Yeah, information desk.
Well, unless they're one of the trophies over there.
On the information desk, we'll come get it. We don't want
Yeah,
to take it.
exactly. Where?
Around the left knee.
Could be worse.
It could be, but so I think it's hidden from the camera, which is what I really care about.
Yeah.
But I'm also pissed because this is my nice.
You have more than one.
I have 3, but 2 are cracked.
Well, now there's 3.
Yep. The question is, can I get it fixed before the HSNCT? I think I can.
I need to buy new slacks before the HSNCT, so whatever. All right, you good to go?
I'm good. What's that? I don't care. It works. Good afternoon, everyone. Can I have sound? Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We're ready to continue with the second half of the first game of the finals. I'd like to remind everyone who just entered to make sure your cell phone is silenced. And I'd also like to remind everyone, whether you just entered or not, to please not whisper answers during the game. I distinctly heard someone who got one of the computation bonus parts right. All right, we are going to continue now, if everybody's ready here and ready here. We have 9 more minutes on the clock, and this is toss-up 12. The creator of this symbol, Gerard Holtham, was inspired by a figure in Francisco Goya's The 3rd of May, 1808, though partly inverted. The semaphore positions for N and D are effectively superimposed in this symbol, since it was first used as the logo for the campaign for nuclear disarmament. For 10 points, name this symbol that resembles a circle around an invert.
The peace sign?
Yes, for 10.
Nice.
This principle states that a system at equilibrium will try to relieve an imposed stress for 10 points each. Identify this principle named for a French chemist.
Lavoisier's? I don't know.
Answer?
Lavoisier's?
Le Chatelier's principle, which says
Okay.
that because heat acts like a reagent, reactions with this property will be driven to the right by increasing the temperature. Answer?
Fast.
Endothermic reactions.
Okay.
Changes in concentration change this quantity, calculated in the same way as the equilibrium constant K, but at non-equilibrium conditions. The system then evolves to make this quantity equal to K. Answer?
The mass.
The reaction quotient. Sorry, nothing on the bonus. Toss-up 13. This man depicted a pale ravener of horrible meat in a poem about a Maldive shark. His poem, The Portent, uses the phrase, the meteor of the war, to describe John Brown. The poem, Billy and the Darbies, ends a novella by this man that was published after his 1891 death and was subtitled Foretopman. The sailor Billy...
Melville.
10.
Yeah.
This book's title character is marooned with a tiger while crossing the Pacific Ocean for 10 points each. Name this novel in which a family who runs a zoo decides to immigrate from India to Canada during the 1970s.
Life of Pi? Life of Pi?
Yes, this author of The High Mountains of Portugal wrote Life of Pi.
Who wrote it? No answer.
Jan Martel. Pi narrates the novel's final section from a hospital in this country. Pi is disappointed when the tiger disappears into the wilds of this country when they make landfall.
Japan.
Spain.
Mexico. That is 10 on the bonus. Toss up 14. A city on this lake hosts the world's second largest jazz festival after the Montreal International Jazz Festival. The International Olympic Committee is headquartered on this lake's northern shore, which is the site of the cities of Montreux and Lausanne.
Lake Geneva.
15.
Oh, what?
Operation Paget concluded that this woman's death was a tragic accident, for 10 points each. Name the subject of conspiracy theories which claim she was murdered alongside Dodi Fayed in a staged accident in Paris.
Yeah, defer.
Princess Diana.
Yes, some conspiracy theorists claim Diana was murdered on the orders of Prince Philip, the husband of this current British queen.
Elizabeth II.
Yeah. Before her death, Diana was called a loose cannon for her activist work in groups like Halo Trust, which is primarily opposed to the presence of these objects of war.
Nuclear weapons? Nuclear weapons?
No, landmines. That is 20 on the
Oh, yeah,
bonus.
that.
Toss up 15. Particles with a mean-free path comparable to the scale height of this structure leave it in a process known as Jean's escape. This structure's temperature as a function of height is known as the lapse rate. By volume, this part of the Earth contains nearly 1% argon.
The atmosphere?
Yes,
Yes,
for 10.
nice.
This woman was among the early supporters of the hospice care system. For 10 points each, name the psychiatrist who developed a 5-stage model of grief in her book On Death and Dying.
Blackwell? Oh, no.
Blackwell.
I'm sorry?
Blackwell.
No, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. This is the first stage of grief in Kubler-Ross's model. A common pun in psychology holds that this status is not a river in Africa.
Depression.
Depression.
Denial.
No.
The fourth stage in the model
Denial.
is this condition characterized by sadness and lack of motivation. Zoloft and Prozac are drugs to treat this condition.
Depression.
Yes, that is 10 on the bonus. Toss up 16. This ruler defeated King Zwide at the Battle of Gokli Hill, which led to the breakup of the Ndwandwe Confederacy. This man popularized the use of a short spear used in melee.
Shaka Zulu.
Yes, for 15. This landmass separated from its northern neighbor in the early Jurassic, for 10 points each. Name this landmass formed alongside Laurasia in the breakup of Pangaea.
This is Gondwana.
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 Yes, Gondwana's separation from Laurasia began near the end of this geologic period that began the Mesozoic era.
Triassic.
Yeah, I think that's Triassic.
Answer?
Triassic?
Yes. This sea, which later became an ocean, opened up from east to west between Gondwana and Laurasia as they broke up.
Wait, maybe the Pacific?
The Mediterranean. I'm not sure.
Answer?
Pacific.
The Tethys Sea, that's 20 on the bonus. Toss up 17. This poem describes a bough of cherries broken off an orchard tree by some officious fool. At the end of this poem, the speaker comments, "We'll go together down, sir," while addressing a visitor to Ferrara. The title character of this 1842 poem liked whate'er she looked on.
My last touches.
Yes, for 10. The Roman Senate gave this emperor a title meaning the best ruler, for 10 points each. Name this Roman emperor who conquered Dacia, bringing the empire to its largest territorial extent. His namesake column in Rome celebrated his victory in Dacia.
Trajan's column. Trajan.
Yes, Trajan was the second of a group of so-called good emperors of this number.
5.
Yes. The concept of the 5 good emperors was popularized by this historian in his 1780s text, The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire.
No, this is.
Oh, wait, no. Yes, this is
Yes.
Gibbon.
Yes, that's all 30. Toss up 18. At the top of one of this man's paintings, a dozen angels wearing alternating pink, white, and green robes dance in a midair ring under a golden dome. This artist of the mystic nativity depicted an orange grove where Zephyrus,
Botticelli.
15.
Nice.
For 10 points each, answer the following about ballot measures approved in 2018. Voters in this state approved a measure restoring voting rights to over 1 million convicted felons. Ron DeSantis beat
Texas.
Andrew Gillum in this state's gubernatorial election.
Colorado.
No, Florida. Idaho, Nebraska, and Utah all voted to expand eligibility for this federal program, which covers healthcare costs for low-income Americans.
Dream.
I'm sorry?
Dream.
No, Medicaid. Via a ballot measure, this Midwestern state became the 9th to legalize recreational marijuana. In 2018, it elected Gretchen
No,
Whitmer
Midwestern
governor.
state.
Midwest. Kansas.
It's not
Kansas.
Midwestern.
No, it's Michigan, nothing on the bonus. Toss up 19. The verb based on this adjective can refer to dividing a vector by its magnitude, producing a unit vector. When talking about vectors relative to surfaces like planes, this word means the same as orthogonal or perpendicular. This word also describes a probability distribution that is sometimes also named after Carl Gauss and whose graph is bell-shaped. For 10 points,
Curve.
no, -5.
Yeah.
For 10 points, give the synonym of usual.
Normal.
Yes, 10.
Nice.
For 10 points each, answer the following about different uses of the word arithmetic. Arithmetic examples of this concept have a constant difference between any two consecutive terms.
Standard definition.
Answer.
Sets.
Arithmetic sequences.
Oh.
In terms of A and B, what is the arithmetic mean of the numbers A and B?
A plus B over 2.
Yeah. A plus B over 2.
Yeah. The fundamental theorem of arithmetic states that every positive integer has a unique factorization in terms of these numbers.
Primes. Yeah. Primes.
Yes, that is 20 on the bonus. Toss up 20. John L. DeWitt created Military Area Number 1 to enforce this policy, whose victims were shown in Ansel Adams' book, Born Free and Equal.
Like the Great Migration.
No, -5. The Ni'ihahu incident contributed to the decision to create this policy. Executive Order 9066 established this policy, which was implemented in places like Manzanar and upheld in the Korematsu case. For 10 points, name this policy that affected Americans of Asian descent during World War.
Internment of Japanese Americans.
Yeah, for 10.
Sorry for the
A rural
accidental
family
gulp.
uses glasses of water to defeat aliens in the 2002 film Signs, which was written and directed by this man, for 10 points each. Name this director, known for using major plot twists in films like The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable.
This is not Kubrick.
Just say it
Answer.
anyway. Differ.
Kubrick?
M. Night Shyamalan. Shyamalan's 2019 film Glass is a follow-up to both Unbreakable and this 2016 film about a man with 24 different personalities.
Oh.
This one.
Dang it.
Answer.
The schizophrenic.
Split.
Oh,
Split starred
yeah,
this
thanks.
Scottish actor as the dissociative Kevin Crumb. He played a youthful Professor X in X-Men Apocalypse. Answer.
William Wallace.
James McAvoy, that is nothing on the bonus. Toss up 21. This was the first sport to use a location called the Kiss and Cry area. In 2018, the Canadian athlete Caitlin Osmond won a world championship in this sport after a shaky performance by Alina Zagitova. American Nathan Chen won a 2018 world.
Figure skating?
Yes, for
Good job.
15.
Nice.
For 10 points each, answer the following about Cordell Hull. Hull served a record 11 years in this cabinet position.
Secretary of State.
Yes. As Secretary of State, Hull promoted this policy in which the U.S. vowed not to interfere in the affairs of Latin American countries.
Like the Monroe. Wait.
No,
like
that's
the
not.
big. Like.
Gadsden.
Some brother thing.
The Good Neighbor Policy.
Yeah.
Hull received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1945 for his work in creating this international organization that was established after World War II.
UN.
Yes, that's 20 on the bonus. Toss up 22. This character's love of cars prompts her to name her doll Chevrolet and suggest
Ramona.
15. According to legend, this country's tallest peak, Mount Snowdon, is the tomb of the giant Rita Gore. For 10 points each, name this constituent country of the UK.
Maybe Wales? Wales?
Yes. The Welsh National Assembly meets in this city, the capital of
Cardiff?
Wales.
Cardiff?
Yes, the Menai Strait separates the Welsh mainland from this largest island in Wales. It is the site of Beaumaris Castle, built by Edward I in the 13th century.
Wait. Dang it. It's the island right above it. I don't remember.
Answer?
Isle of Man.
Anglesey. That's 20 on the bonus and the end of the game.